Welcome into the Commanders Report by Chat Sports, presented by Prize Picks. I'm your host, Jack Sperry, and today it is my favorite segment of the week. It is the Commanders Report mailbag, where I'm answering your questions on the burgundy and gold here as we continue on during the 2026 NFL offseason. Now, make sure you guys click that subscribe button to join the most interactive fan community for Commanders fans anywhere here on YouTube. We have over 50,000 subscribers. We're currently the largest name here on YouTube when it comes to Commanders news and rumors. The reason for that is we provide you guys daily, free, informative, entertaining Commanders videos every day. We go live for almost every single Commanders game. We go live at least once a week to do these mailbags and answer your questions and talk about Commanders football. So if you guys want a place where there's thousands of people that bleed burgundy and gold and you want a place to get your daily news and rumors coverage for the Washington Commanders, this is the place for you. Go ahead and click that subscribe button and join our family. First question comes in from Jack Ridgway here. Says, why not at this time just trade Luke McCaffrey for Brandon Aiyuk? Now, they certainly could do this, and especially since they went out and got Antonio Williams, a slot specialist at wide receiver, and earlier this offseason they described Luke McCaffrey as a slot guy. It seems like McCaffrey's role with the Commanders this year is probably going to be relegated to special teams. All right, so I think that is probably the number one reason why the Commanders don't want to give up Luke McCaffrey is because of the value he brings as a kick returner. He's been one of the best kick returners in the game the last 2 years when he's been healthy. And frankly, I don't think the Commanders want to give up something for a player that they know they can get for nothing on the open market, at some point during the process here. Now, we'll see how much they value OTAs and, that sort of stuff for Brandon to be there. But at this point, they've come far enough. Why not just go all the way until July? And I'm sure Brandon is working out with Jaden. Those guys are best friends. They hang out with each other in L.A. Throughout the offseason. So I'm sure he's catching passes from Jaden, building up that chemistry with him. So I think the Commanders pretty much expect Aiyuk to eventually be on the Commanders roster, but obviously the 49ers are holding him hostage. And, that's just the situation that we're in. So I understand the impatience here, and personally I might rather go out and get Stefon Diggs at this point than Brandon Aiyuk, but it seems like the Commanders are dead set on eventually acquiring Aiyuk, so I guess we just have to sit here and wait. Then we got one from B. Kez, who says, do you see Chig as more of a yak guy this year or a red zone threat? Why not both, man? I think that he's going to be providing both of those things for this offense. Now, he is traditionally known more as a yak guy because of his athleticism, but I think that his route running and his true receiving chops are a little bit underrated, and they're underrated because the quarterback play in Tennessee, frankly, wasn't all that good over the last several years, including Cam Ward's rookie season, where he showed some good things, but definitely up and down throughout the course of the season. And now Chig is coming to a place here where he's undeniably playing with the best quarterback that he's played with throughout his career in Jaden Daniels, and he's going to be the number one receiving tight end option. All right, and we know how much Jaden likes to feed that number one tight end option. I think it's going to be a true breakout season for Chig. Can't wait to see him play in this offense. And I think, when we're sitting here next year, we're going to be looking at Chig as one of the steals of 2026 NFL free agency. Then we got one from Nobu, who says, how do you think Jaden Daniels will perform this year with the change in coordinators and the new additions? That really is the question, isn't it, Nobu? Because it's an offensive style that he's never played in before, right? In college, in high school, all that stuff, he played in heavy shotgun, heavy spread style offenses. And then what made his transition to the league so smooth was that he went to pair up with Cliff Kingsbury here in Washington, who ran a very college-esque system, with lots of shotgun, read options, and screens, and quick game, and, lots of air raid stuff. And now David Blau is coming in, and he's going to do the same thing to Jaden Daniels that Ben Johnson did with Caleb Williams last year, where Caleb never, before Ben Johnson, played in an under-center pro-style offense before. And frankly, there was some bumps in the road, and I expect to see some of that, especially early in the season from Jaden Daniels and the Commanders. But you're hoping that as we get down the stretch, Jaden really starts to hit his stride and really looks like one of the best quarterbacks in football as we get towards the end of the season, where, of course, we want him playing his best. And hopefully they can go on a nice little run in the playoffs yet again this year and maybe put themselves in contention to hoist a Lombardi trophy. So let us know down there in the comments section, confidence level in Jaden Daniels. Put it on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 meaning no confidence at all, to 10 meaning super confident he's going to win league MVP this year? Let me know and give me a number down there in the comments section. Now, before we get to the rest of your questions, let's have a word from our sponsor today here at Prize Picks, which is America's #1 sports picks app. With playoff basketball finally here, there's no better time to cash in during the playoffs this season. The Prize Picks app is super easy to use. You just pick more than or less than on a few player stat projections and then lock in your lineup. If you're a hoops guy, you can go with points, rebounds, assists, blocks, or three-pointers. And if you're more of a C-med, you like baseball, you can choose hits, home runs, or strikeouts. You can even look ahead to next year's football season with future projections on stats like receiving touchdowns for receivers like Puka Nacua, or passing yards for quarterbacks like Dak Prescott and Caleb Williams, or Jaden Daniels for that matter. With that particular projection, you guys could win $120 on a $20 entry fee. One thing that I love about the Prize Picks app is their new social feeds feature where you can share Prize Picks lineups with your friends and then also copy lineups with a single click. And you can actually follow me on the app at Sperry to see all of my lineups that I put out on the Prize Picks platform. So download the Prize Picks app today and use code HMA when you play your first $5 lineup to receive $50 in lineups. That's code HMA when you play your first $5 lineup to get an extra $50 in lineups with our friends at Prize Picks. Click the link in the comments and description to download the app, and a big thank you to Prize Picks for sponsoring the Commanders Report. This one's coming in from King's Gold. It says, do you see the lack of new safeties on the team might be a problem during the upcoming season? It definitely could be. And honestly, man, like I've been saying it on the channel, I think the secondary is once again a major question mark for the Commanders. That's been the case the last 2 years, and obviously it hasn't worked out. This year, they're really banking on Mike Sainristil and Quan Martin in particular to have bounce-back seasons and truly breakout seasons. And if they don't, I don't necessarily love the depth that they have at corner and at safety. So Quan was one of the worst safeties in football last year. There's just no going around that. He was awful. And I think what Dan Quinn is hoping is that shifting from kind of that man-centric style of offense that he ran before with Joe Witt Jr. to more of a hot quarters, match-heavy system that Durante Jones is bringing in here is going to, better suit the skill sets of Mike Sainristil and Quan Martin, which it could. I mean, Martin and Sainristil both played in very match-centered schemes in college, and they were very good at playing in that style of system. So there's definitely a realistic expectation here that those two could have breakout seasons, and then you pair that up with Trey Amos, and I love the Nick Cross addition. He's a very versatile player, great athlete, great size, really good run defender, and then you bring in Amik Robertson, who could be a pretty darn good nickel corner for you. I think you could be looking at a pretty decent secondary, again, if Martin and Sainristil take that next step. But if they don't, once again, you're looking at a pretty weak secondary and one of the bigger weaknesses on this Commanders team heading into the year. But then we got I don't even know how to say it, Zabrabak? Oh, my goodness, man. Zebraback? However you say your name, my friend. He says, why not Tyreek Hill? Well, you could maybe go get Tyreek Hill. Now, my question marks with him are, how healthy is he? I don't think he's very healthy at all. I mean, that injury that he had in the middle of last season was disgusting, all right? So, I'm sure he's still very much in the rehab process, not sure if he's going to be able to even be ready for training camp. I'm sure that's a big reason why he hasn't been signed. But also, he's got some character stuff off the field, and, I'm sure he's going to want to get paid a certain amount of money. And also, I just think the Commanders are locked in on Brandon Aiyuk because, obviously existing relationship with Adam Peters. He has a best friendship with Jaden Daniels, so I'm sure they want to make Jaden happy. And, I'm sure Brandon is probably in pretty decent shape. I'm sure Jaden is at least telling the team that he's in great shape. So I wouldn't mind bringing in Tyreek Hill. I mean, why not? But it's got to be for the right price tag. He's got to be healthy. All those different things, but at the end of the day, I think they'll probably just end up signing Brandon Aiyuk probably sometime in July when the 49ers eventually nut up here and put him on the open market. Make sure you guys click that thumbs up icon if you haven't already. If you are a real one, the real ones that watch our show every day know that clicking that thumbs up icon is the best way to help support the channel. It takes a half second of your time, and it tells the YouTube algorithm that you enjoy our content as a Commanders fan, that they should recommend this show to other Commanders fans like yourselves. So if you want more eyes on this channel, more subscribers, more success, more videos, all that different stuff, make sure you guys help out our channel here by clicking that thumbs up icon. Then we got another one here from Biquez who says, how do you feel about Antonio Williams? What kind of role do you see him in the offense this year? Antonio, in my opinion, in the league is going to be a slot specialist, okay? Bit undersized, not great play strength, so I'm not sure if he's going to be able to handle press coverage on the outside. But he's very shifty. He's got really good long speed. He's got really reliable hands, and he's a really nuanced route runner from the slot. So, he was, a featured guy with Cade Klubnik there in the Clemson Tiger offense. And when he was injured, you saw the difference in Cade Klubnik's play. Okay, he was his safety blanket. So hopefully he can be that for Jaden Daniels, all right? Obviously, Zach Ertz was kind of that quote-unquote safety blanket for him in this offense before. Hopefully the combination of Chig and then Antonio Williams in the slot can kind of help bridge that gap with Ertz no longer on this football team. So really like Antonio Williams. We're actually going to be putting out a video, a player profile and scouting report on him on the channel here soon, BKaz, so I hope you check out that video. DMV Mateo says, which defensive and offensive player, new or old, are you excited to take the leap this year? Great question, DMV Mateo. The guy that I'm really excited to see implemented in this system is Sonny Styles, okay? And the reason for that is because of the potential versatility that they can deploy with him. Because of his combination of size, speed, athleticism, arm length, they can align him up in a million different places pre-snap and then rotate him to do a bunch of different things post-snap as well. Like, he's got the athleticism to play a deep half safety if you want to rotate him back there post-snap. He's got the blitzing ability to blitz him from any alignment, whether it's, off the ball, whether that's, outside the tackles, whether that's, mugged up over the ball. You could do a bunch of different things with Sonny Styles, and he's really got the potential to be one of the more dynamic chess pieces in the National Football League on the defensive side of the ball. And if Durante Jones and Dan Quinn get him up to speed fast enough, he could be that for this defense immediately. So, having a piece like that can really transform your defense from one of the worst in football in one year to one of, the more up-and-coming defenses in the following year, especially when you add the other additions here. Hopefully Mike Sainristil and Quan Martin play better in the system as well, with more match coverage, more off coverage, than what we saw from this team in previous seasons. I'm just excited to see how Sonny Styles impacts the rest of this defense. So that's probably my answer for you there. Then Sean Davis says, we need Diggs way more than Aiyuk. I don't disagree with you, brother. I mean, Stefon Diggs, absolutely, I think it's the safer bet. Now, he might be a bit more expensive, but I think he's the safer bet. Over 1,000 yards receiving last year, was the number one receiver on a team that made the Super Bowl. He's a DMV native, all right? So this is his hometown team. Obviously, I think that he would be an awesome complement to Terry McLaurin. And, if you sign Stefon Diggs today, for example, nothing's stopping you from signing Brandon Aiyuk right before the season as well. Obviously, that would suck for rookie receiver Antonio Williams because he'd probably have to play, the fourth fiddle, play more special teams in his first year, barring any injuries. But, I think Stefon is still a very good football player at this point in his career. And if you're really trying to go for it this year and trying to win a Super Bowl here in Washington, Stefon Diggs can certainly help you get closer to that goal. So Aiyuk, there's just a lot of risk involved with him. He hasn't played in a year and a half. He's coming off a major injury. Obviously, he's a pretty volatile personality. You just don't know if he's going to be, a legitimate wide receiver too, if he plays for this team. So if you want the safer option here, I definitely think you spend the little bit of extra money on Stefon Diggs. But at this point, I think Aiyuk is probably who they are going to go with just because of his connection to Jaden Daniels and the like. I think that probably gets it done. I think the Commanders are willing to wait for him. But pick a wide receiver too for me down there in the comments section. Type SD for Stefon Diggs or BA for Brandon Aiyuk. Give me your answer down there in the comments section. For me, it's an easy answer. I'm going with Stefon Diggs, but let me know what you guys think. And that'll be it for this week's mailbag, guys. Really good questions this week, really detailed questions. Hopefully I provided some good answers for you guys. Of course, if you want to get a question on a future Commanders Report mailbag, we usually go live on Wednesdays starting at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. So if you guys want to join us for our next live show, you guys can potentially get your question on the next Commanders Report mailbag.